The kitchen smelled like burnt butter. 4 in the morning, flour on her cheek, apron stained from yesterday and the day before that. The only light coming from the single bulb above a stove that had not told the truth about its own temperature in years. 18 orders stacked on the counter, her phone face up on the edge of the sink, buzzing. The screen read, Harland Foods, Regional Office. She looked at the phone. She looked at her hands. Both were covered in flour, worked into the creases of her palms, settled under 2 fingernails. The hands of a woman who had been standing on concrete floors at 4 in the morning for 2 years straight. She almost did not pick up. That call was still 2 years away. And before it came, there was the matter of $23.80, which was everything she had on the morning she decided to start. Celestine Pruitt had been let go on a Thursday, 6 months pregnant. The company had fewer than 50 employees, which meant the law that was supposed to protect women in her situation did not apply to her. Her manager had said he was sorry while looking at a spot on the wall just above her shoulder, not at her face, not at her stomach, the wall. She cleaned out her desk in under 10 minutes, drove home, sat in the driveway for a long time before going inside. The man she had married left the way some men leave, not with a door slam or a speech. He just started being somewhere else more than he was home. And then he was somewhere else all the time. And then the phone number stopped connecting. Someone told her later he had moved to another city. She did not ask which one. She did not need to know. SNAP benefits carried them for a while. Savings carried them after that. But savings accounts are not rivers. They do not refill on their own. They are jars, and jars empty. This one emptied slowly, and then all at once, in the way money disappears when you are careful with it, and careful still is not enough. On that particular morning, Celestine sat at the kitchen table with an envelope in front of her. She opened it, laid the contents flat. 1 $20 bill, 3 ones, 3 quarters, 1 nickel. $23.80. She pressed each bill flat against the table with her palm, working out the creases, making the money smooth and neat. Not because flat money was worth more, because the act of pressing it flat was the one thing she could do to make it feel like she was still in control of something. She put everything back in the envelope, folded it closed, placed it in the drawer beside the stove. The drawer did not close all the way. It had never closed all the way, not once since she moved in. She had learned not to think about it, the way you learn not to think about the things in your life that are imperfect and not going anywhere. She stood at the counter and looked at the cabinet above the stove. Inside, pushed to the back behind a box of rice, a bag of all-purpose flour, 3/4 full, a block of unsalted butter, dark brown sugar, a half-empty bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips, a small bag of pecans from the last SNAP run. She looked at those ingredients the way a person looks at a door when they are not certain they still have the key. From the top of the stairs, small feet on hardwood, Bria came into the kitchen in pajamas printed with cartoon cereal boxes. 7 years old. The shirt was from the thrift store on Meridian, and she had worn it 3 nights in a row because it was soft, and she was 7. And 7-year-olds do not need a better reason than that. She stopped when she saw her mother standing in front of the open cabinet. "Mama, what are we eating?" Celestine looked at the envelope in the drawer that would not close. She looked at her daughter. She did not answer right away, because the answer forming in her mind was not about breakfast, and she was not ready to say it out loud. Not yet. The shoebox lived on the top shelf of the hallway closet. Celestine had not touched it in 4 years. She reached up and carried it to the kitchen table and set it down. Inside, under a rubber band and a photograph of a woman standing beside a folding table covered in aluminum foil pans, was a small notebook with a plastic cover. The cover had gone cloudy from years of being opened and handled next to a stove. The plastic had absorbed whatever was in the air of every kitchen it had ever visited. Butter, vanilla, something deeper and browner and older. The handwriting inside was in pencil, small, precise, a little tilted to the right. This was Grandma Ruthie's book. Ruth Elnora Pruitt had taught Celestine to bake in a kitchen not much bigger than this one. Celestine was 9 the first time. Ruthie had set a step stool in front of the counter and told her to wash her hands twice. Once for the dirt, twice for the habit. For 20 Sundays a year, every year. Ruthie baked cookies and brought them to Greater Refuge Community Church, sold them on a folding table in the fellowship hall. The money went to the building fund. People who were not even regular churchgoers would show up on those Sundays specifically. This was known. It was not discussed, because discussing it would require admitting something about priorities that the congregation was not prepared to examine publicly. The cookie that sold out first. Every single Sunday. Brown butter pecan. Ruthie had developed the recipe herself over decades of small adjustments. She called this process not experimentation, but listening. She would say, "You do not watch butter, you listen to it. Brown it past foam, past gold, until the smell shifts from dairy to something deeper. Like toasted grain, like warmth. The moment you smell burning is the moment after the moment you should have pulled the pan. You have to catch the right second before it becomes the wrong one." Ruthie passed at 79. It was a quiet Sunday. She ate dinner with family, washed her own dishes, sat in her chair, did not wake up the next morning. The doctor said her heart. The family said her time. Both were true. She left behind the book. Celestine had not opened it in 4 years. She opened it that morning because she had $23.80 and a daughter who had asked what they were eating. And because the only thing she knew how to make that was worth more than its parts was the thing her grandmother had taught her. She turned to page 9. Brown butter pecan cookies. The pencil had faded some, but the measurements were clear. She scanned down the instructions, the temperatures, the timing. Her eyes moved through the recipe she had half memorized years ago. She did not read the small handwriting at the very bottom of the page. The notes squeezed into the margin in a slightly different pencil, slightly different pressure. She would have had no reason to look there. Not yet. She set the butter in a small saucepan on the Kenmore, turned the dial to what the stove claimed was medium. This stove ran 30 degrees hotter than whatever the dial said. She had learned this by burning things. You learn what you need to learn when you cannot afford to replace the teacher. Set it to 350. That means 380. Adjust accordingly. The butter melted. Then it foamed. Then the foam fell back and the color began to shift. Yellow to gold. Gold to something deeper. The color of light tea. And the smell changed. It stopped being butter. It became something else. Warm. Round. Close to toasted hazelnuts, but not quite. Because brown butter is its own thing and does not need a comparison to explain itself. You smell it once, and you know it the rest of your life. She pulled the pan off the heat, poured the butter into a bowl to stop the cooking. 1 second between hazelnut and burning. She had caught the right second. If Ruthie had been standing in this kitchen watching, she would not have said a word about it. She would have simply moved to the next step. Because in Ruthie's kitchen, praise was not part of the process. The process was the point. Bria had climbed up to sit on the counter beside the stove. She watched. She did not ask questions. She just watched the way children watch when they understand that whatever is happening is not ordinary, even if they cannot name why. Celestine measured flour by hand. No kitchen scale. She used the scoop and level method Ruthie had used, which is not what any baking textbook recommends, but which produces consistent results when the measurements live in your muscles rather than in numbers. She mixed the dough, folded in pecans and chocolate chips, dropped rounds onto a sheet pan lined with parchment left over from something she could not remember making. She put the pan in the oven, set the dial to 350, which meant 380, and set the timer for 11 minutes, which at this temperature meant checking at 9 minutes and making a judgment call. At 9 minutes, she opened the oven and rotated the pan because this stove ran hotter on the left side. At 10 minutes, she pulled it. The kitchen smelled exactly like Ruthie's kitchen had smelled on Saturday nights when she was preparing for Sunday morning. The smell was so specific and so complete that Celestine stood still and just let it be what it was. She did not try to make it into anything else. 30 cookies on the wire rack. She picked one up and broke it in half, outside firm, inside soft, slightly underset, which is how it is supposed to be. The cookie keeps cooking after it leaves the oven. If it is done in the oven, it will be overdone on the counter. She handed half to Bria. Bria bit into it and stopped chewing. Not because something was wrong. She slowed down. She chewed the way you chew when you are actually paying attention to what is in your mouth. She did not say it was good. She just took another bite. Celestine turned over the electric bill on the counter, picked up a pen. $9.40 for 30 cookies. Roughly 31 cents per cookie. If she sold them at $2.50 each, 30 times $2.50 was $75, minus $9.40 for ingredients, $65.60 profit on one batch. She looked at the number. She looked at the 30 cookies. She looked at the $23.80 in the drawer that would not close. She did not call them beautiful. She called them ready. But she had 30 cookies, and no place to sell them, and no one to sell them to, and no way to make a stranger understand that these were not just cookies. These were something her grandmother had built over decades, in a kitchen 6 blocks from here, for a church full of people who would choose a folding table in a fellowship hall over a sermon when the table had the right thing on it. She covered the rack with a clean dish towel, put the notebook back in the shoebox, put the shoebox back on the closet shelf. She wiped down the counter. She did these things because they were the next things to do. She had not yet figured out the thing after that. Okay, wait. I need to stop for a second, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking she's got 30 cookies, $65 in profit on paper, and a drawer full of crumpled bills. That's it. That's the whole starting line. No investor, no business plan, no viral moment. Just a woman at a kitchen table with a recipe and a number written on the back of an electric bill. And I want you to hold that image, because that is exactly what we're talking about. That is the real starting line. Let me keep going. Odessa Hartwell lived in the house directly to the left, separated by a chain-link fence and a strip of grass that neither of them mowed often enough. 72 years old, retired home economics teacher, 28 years at the same high school, widow for 5 years. She kept her house clean, her yard presentable, and her opinions to herself unless someone asked, and sometimes when they did not. She had watched Celestine's pregnancy from across the fence without commenting, had watched the husband stop appearing without asking about it, had brought over food 3 times and a bag of Bria's size clothes once, always without any conversation that lasted more than 5 minutes, because Odessa understood something about people who need help. Most of them do not want to be seen needing it, and making a production of the giving takes something away from the person receiving. The morning after she baked, Celestine put 6 cookies in an old checkbox, carried it next door, knocked. Odessa opened the door in a housecoat and reading glasses, looked at the box. Celestine said, "Bria likes the peppermints you bring her. These are for you." Odessa took the box, opened it right there on the porch, picked up a cookie and looked at it the way a person looks at something they are evaluating, not just receiving. She bit into it, chewed slowly, looked up. "Who taught you to work butter this way?" "My grandmother." Odessa nodded. not a polite nod. The nod of a woman who had spent 28 years teaching young people the difference between cooking that follows instructions and cooking that comes from somewhere deeper than instructions. She said, "Your grandmother knew the craft." A pause. "Do you?" Celestine was not sure what she was being asked. She said, "Do I what?" "Know what you're sitting on." Odessa held up the cookie. "Because this didn't belong in a checkbook box. This belongs on a table where people can find it," Celestine said. "I don't have a way to get it to a table like that." Odessa looked at her for a moment, adjusted her glasses. "You know anything about cottage food law in this state?" She did not. Odessa explained it the way she explained everything, clearly, without pausing for questions. Because the information was the point, and questions could come after. The law allows you to make food in your own home kitchen and sell it directly to people. No commercial kitchen required. No health department inspection. You need a label on every package with the ingredients, where it was made, and a statement that it was made in a home kitchen, not inspected by the state. The annual sales cap is $20,000. You can sell at farmers markets, at church events, at your front door. You cannot sell online. You cannot sell through a store. Direct to the customer only. There's a market called Cedar Mill Farmers Market, runs every Saturday. Vendor fee is $35. She looked at Celestine over the top of her reading glasses. "That's your next problem to solve. I expect you'll figure it out." She took the box inside. The door closed. Celestine stood on the porch for a moment. Then she went home. She did not have $35. This was not entirely true. She had $23.80. But $23.80 was not $35, and the distance between those two numbers felt larger than it was. Because when you have been measuring gaps in dollars for long enough, every gap starts to look like a canyon. She thought about asking people at church. She thought about posting on social media. She thought about calling her old co-workers. She considered each option and felt in each case a specific resistance that had nothing to do with logistics. It had to do with how she would look. A woman with a box of home-baked cookies and a price on her lips, asking. She had spent her whole adult life being careful not to look like she needed things, even when she needed them, especially then. And the thought of standing in front of people she knew with something to sell made something in her chest go tight in a way she could not argue her way out of. Harland Pruitt showed up that Friday, her older brother by 4 years. He worked as a licensed electrician for a company on the east side of town. He came by whenever something in her house needed fixing, which was often, because the house was old. That day it was the outlet behind the refrigerator. Bad connection. He had it working in 20 minutes. He sat at the kitchen table afterward. Celestine put a plate of cookies in front of him without explanation. He picked one up, bit into it, stopped, looked at it, then at her. "Celly, what? What is this?" "It's a cookie." "I know it's a cookie." He turned it over in his hand like it was something he needed to inspect. "This is Grandma Ruthie's." "Yes." He ate the rest of it in one bite. He did not say anything for a few seconds. He was a man who took his time deciding what to say. "You chargin' for these?" "Not yet." He looked at her. The way older brothers look at younger sisters who are being unreasonable, and both of them know it. He reached into his back pocket, pulled out his wallet, put $35 on the table between the plate and the sugar bowl, 3 10s and a 5. "That's not charity," he said. "That's me being the first person smart enough to invest. I want 10% of whatever you make." He stood up. 10% of nothing is still nothing. So if you don't go sell these, I break even anyway. He grabbed 3 cookies off the plate, put one in each jacket pocket, held the third one. "Go to that market. Sell your grandmother's cookies before I eat your entire inventory, and you've got nothing left to show up with." He went out through the back door. The screen door bounced twice behind him, the way it always did. Celestine stood in the kitchen, looking at the $35 on the table. The outlet behind the refrigerator was no longer sparking. That was the first thing Jerome had fixed that day. She woke at 3. 6 batches of dough, prepped the night before, wrapped in plastic, stacked in the refrigerator. 6 batches was 216 cookies, at $2.50 each. That was $540 if she sold every single one. She would not sell every single one. She knew that. She made $216 anyway, because the alternative was making fewer and spending Saturday wondering whether fewer was the reason. She worked in the yellow light of the single bulb above the stove, hands in rhythm. Scoop, level, drop, space, pan in, timer on, pan out, rotate, next pan. By 5:22, 216 cookies were cooling on every flat surface in the kitchen. She packed them into Ziploc bags, 3 per bag. On each bag, she stuck a label she had hand-lettered the night before on adhesive paper Odessa had given her. The label said, Grandma Ruthie's Brown Butter Pecan Cookies. Made in a home kitchen, not inspected by the State Department of Health. She had written 72 of these labels at the kitchen table while Bria slept. Her hand had cramped at label 41. She had kept writing. She loaded the bags into 2 cardboard boxes and carried them to the car. The car was a 2009 Nissan with a cracked windshield and a passenger door that did not lock from the outside. She went back inside. Bria was asleep on the couch in her clothes, dressed the night before to save time. Celestine carried her out, buckled her into the back seat. Bria did not wake up. She hung in her mother's arms the way sleeping children do, soft, boneless, fully trusting. The complete trust of someone who has not yet learned there are situations where trust is a risk. Celestine drove. Cedar Mill Farmers Market opened at 6 on Saturdays. When Celestine arrived at 5:45, the parking lot was already moving. Vendors unloading trucks, the metallic snap of folding table legs locking into place. A man stacking crates of tomatoes in the half-dark. A woman standing with her eyes closed, both hands wrapped around a paper cup of coffee, not drinking it yet, just holding the warmth. The air smelled like morning, damp and still cool, with the sweetness that comes before heat takes over. Celestine set up her table. No tablecloth, no display stand, 2 cardboard boxes and a piece of corrugated cardboard she had cut from a shipping box and marked with a black marker, Grandma Ruthie's Brown Butter Pecan Cookies, $2.50 each, 3 for $6. She propped the sign against one of the boxes, stood behind the table. Bria was still asleep in the car with the windows cracked. The market opened. People walked the rows. They looked at produce and honey and handmade hot sauce and sourdough and plants. They walked past Celestine's table. Some glanced. Most did not. She smiled at the ones who glanced. They smiled back and kept walking. This is what it looks like when people have already decided something is not for them. They do not stop. They do not slow down. They simply adjust their path a few degrees and continue, like water around a stone that does not notice the water. 1 hour. 2 hours. She had not sold a single cookie. Here's the part nobody tells you about. The part where the thing you believe in is sitting right in front of people, and they are looking at it and walking away. And you were standing there doing the math in your head. $35 spent on the vendor fee, $9.40 on ingredients times 6 batches. And the morning just keeps going. And the table stays full. That part, that is the real test. Not the baking, not the paperwork, not the capital. The standing there, when you do not know if you made a mistake. Okay, keep going. Bria woke up a little after 8, came out to the table rubbing her eyes. Celestine handed her a cookie and a juice box. Bria sat down on the ground behind the table with a crayon and the back of one of the spare labels and began drawing. After a while, she moved to the surface of the table itself, small hands, crayon moving, head just visible above the edge of the table. A woman in a green windbreaker stopped. She was not looking at the cookies. She was looking at Bria. "Hey, sweetie, what are you making?" Bria looked up. "My mom's cookies." The woman looked at the cookies, looked at Celestine.
Can I try one?
Celestine opened a bag. The woman bit into a cookie, and she did the thing that Bria had done. She slowed down. She looked at what was in her hand. She stood very still for a moment. She bought 3 bags, came back 20 minutes later with a friend. The friend bought 3 bags, brought her husband back 5 minutes after that. By 10:30, there was a small and steady line at Celestine's table that had not been there 2 hours before, and that no one, including Celestine, could fully account for. Word of mouth is not a strategy. It is a consequence. It is what happens when something is good enough that the person who experiences it cannot help telling the next person they see. You cannot manufacture it. You can only earn it. By noon, she had sold 165 bags. She packed the rest, folded her table, carried Bria to the car. She sat in the driver's seat and counted the money. Bills first, then coins. She pressed each bill flat against her thigh, smoothing out the creases the way she always did. Put it in the envelope from the drawer. $380. Minus $9.40 times 6 in ingredients. Minus $35 for the vendor fee. $288.60. The envelope was thicker than it had been that morning, heavier. She folded it closed, put it in her bag, started the car. She did not cry. She drove home. The second Saturday was easier because the fear was a little smaller. The third Saturday, easier still. By the 4th week, she had regulars, people who came specifically for her table and who were annoyed when she sold out before they arrived, which she started doing by 11, then by 10:30, then by 10. Week 1, 288, 60. Week 2, 360. Week 3, 290. It had rained. Market closed early. People moved fast. Week 4, 470. She had started taking advance orders for church events and birthday parties. On the 5th Saturday, she brought 2 new products, snickerdoodles and lemon shortbread. She had spent the week making them carefully, packaging them the same way, labeling them the same way. The snickerdoodles sold 8 bags. The lemon shortbread sold 5. The brown butter pecan cookies sold out by 9:52. That evening, she sat on Odessa's porch and explained what had happened. She said she thought variety would be good. People want options. Odessa was in her porch chair with a glass of sweet tea. She listened without interrupting. When Celestine finished, Odessa said,
"A shop that does one thing right will outlast 10 shops that do everything halfway. That's not philosophy. That's arithmetic."
She took a sip.
The market already told you what it wants. Question is whether you listened.
Celestine did not bring snickerdoodles or lemon shortbread to the market again. There was also the man who appeared on the 3rd Saturday. He came back every week after, bought 2 bags each time, cash. He would point at the cookies, hand over the bills, nod once, and leave. Celestine did not know his name. In her head, she called him the quiet regular. She did not know yet that he mattered. She would. And then there was the woman who appeared on the 2nd Saturday and came back every week after that for a different reason entirely. Vivian Holt, 50s. She ran a brand called Holt's Homestyle, which had been a fixture at Cedar Mill for 8 years. Proper branded truck, printed signage, point-of-sale reader mounted on a stand. Her products were also stocked in 3 specialty food shops in town. She had a certified commercial kitchen, full liability coverage, and a first-name relationship with Sandra Price, the market manager. She walked past Celestine's setup on week 2, looked at the hand-lettered sign, the Ziploc bags, the line that had formed by 10 o'clock. She did not stop, but she looked. She came back on week 3 and positioned herself 1 table over, facing Celestine's direction. By week 4, She was filing her first complaint with Sandra. The email from Sandra came on a Tuesday. It was brief and professional. A concern had been raised about labeling standards. The labels on Celestine's bags, while legally compliant, were hand-lettered rather than printed. It was not a formal violation, but it was being noted. Sandra did not name who had raised the concern. She did not need to. Celestine read the email twice at the kitchen table. Then she went to Odessa's. She described the email, the complaint.
The subtext underneath the stated concern. Odessa listened, set down her sweet tea. That woman's table was selling $60 an hour before you showed up. Now it's selling $40. She paused. You are not a labeling problem. You are a competition problem. Know the difference. Then she said something that changed the direction of the next 3 months. Your numbers are going to cross $20,000 before the year is out. At that point, the cottage food law stops protecting you. You're going to need a different kind of kitchen. Celestine had been running the projections in her head, averaging around $450 a Saturday, 52 Saturdays. That was over $23,000 per year. She had already known this was coming. She had been not looking at it directly. I don't have the money for a commercial kitchen, she said. Odessa said, Greater Refuge Community Church on Fletcher Avenue. What about it? Their kitchen was certified as a commercial facility 3 years ago. The pastor's wife ran a catering operation out of it. She stopped 2 years back. The certification is still active, and they rent to outside users. $10 an hour. A pause. I already checked, Odessa said. 10 is not 25. Celestine drove to Greater Refuge the following Thursday. Low brick building with a white cross above the entrance and a parking lot that needed resurfacing, and a sign out front with the week's Bible verse. She asked for the pastor at the front office. A woman told her he was in the fellowship hall. She found Pastor Calvin Oates setting up folding chairs for a Thursday evening Bible study. Large hands, a calm that seemed like it came from somewhere underneath his posture rather than from it. He listened to Celestine explain what she needed without once looking at his watch. When she finished, he said, Kitchen's free Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 6 to 10. Bring your own supplies. $10 an hour. Leave it cleaner than you found it. That was all. No encouragement, no laying on of hands. A door was open, and he pointed to the handle. What she did with it was her choice. She walked into the kitchen, 4 times the size of her kitchen at home. 2 commercial ovens, stainless steel counters, 3-compartment sink, overhead ventilation humming steadily, fluorescent lights that buzzed at a frequency just barely audible. Everything clean, industrial, precise in a way her kitchen at home was not. She ran her hand along the stainless steel counter. Cold. She pressed her palm flat against it and felt the temperature of equipment designed to be used and sanitized and used again. Surfaces that did not hold memory. No burn mark from a pot left too long. No grape juice stain from a 7-year-old who had knocked over a cup 3 years ago. This counter was waiting. Blank. Ready. She turned to the first oven, opened it, looked at the dial. She set it to 350. She did not subtract 30. She did not need to. Let me tell you something. This is the moment right here. Standing in front of an oven that is going to tell you the truth. After spending years making every single mental correction before you even started baking. After learning to distrust the instrument and trust only your own adjustment. And now the instrument is honest, and you have to figure out what to do with that. It sounds like a small thing. It is not a small thing. Sister Renee Oates found Celestine in the kitchen that first evening. Pastor Oates' wife. Former owner of a small catering business she had run out of this same kitchen for 4 years before stepping back. She came in to check that the supplies had been restocked, saw Celestine in front of the ovens, and stopped. She did not introduce herself immediately. She watched Celestine work for a moment, the way one professional assesses another.
Then she said, "Your oven at home runs hot." Celestine looked up. 30 degrees? Sister Renee nodded. This one doesn't, but the heat distribution is different than what you're used to. Commercial ovens are bigger cavities. The edges run hotter than the center. Top rack moves faster than the bottom. She leaned against the counter. "What are you making?" "Pecan cookies, brown butter," Sister Renee said. "Start with 1 pan, not 4. See what it tells you." Then she left Celestine to it. The first week in the church kitchen went well. She doubled output. 432 cookies instead of 216. Sold out by 9:30 Saturday morning. The second week, she pushed further. 500 cookies. She arrived at the church kitchen on Tuesday at 6 and began. She scaled the recipe up. More butter, more flour, more sugar, more pecans. She filled 4 sheet pans at once because the ovens were larger, and larger ovens meant more capacity. She had forgotten what Sister Renee said about starting with 1 pan. She had forgotten it because success had made her confident, and confidence in a new kitchen is not the same as knowledge. A home oven is a small space. Heat wraps around the pan. A commercial oven is a different system entirely. The edges run hot. The top rack moves faster. These are things professional bakers know, the way experienced drivers know the feel of a particular road in rain. At 11 minutes, she pulled the first batch. The cookies along the outer edge of the pan were dark. Too dark. The ones in the center were pale and soft, almost raw. She pulled the second batch. Same problem. Worse. She had tried to correct on the third batch by rotating the pans halfway through. It helped on one pan. On the other, the damage was already done. She stood at the stainless steel counter at 10:48 at night and sorted the cookies into 3 groups. First group, sellable, 150. Second group, edge-over baked but edible, 150. Third group, centers, still raw. They would collapse the moment someone picked them up, 200. 350 cookies she could not bring to the market. She did the math. $115 in ingredients, $40 in kitchen rental, 5.5 hours of labor. And the math did not care that she had started at 6 in the morning. The math did not care about effort or intention, or the specific exhaustion of a woman standing on concrete at 11 o'clock at night. The math was just the math. She sat down on the floor of the church kitchen. The tile was cold through her jeans. The fluorescent lights buzzed above her. The stainless steel surfaces reflected the light in a flat and indifferent way. She looked at the 3 piles on the counter. She sat there for a long time. And this, right here, this is the almost quit moment they don't put in the inspirational posts. This is the floor, the actual floor, not a metaphor. Tile, 48 degrees in December, an apron stained with burnt butter, 350 cookies she cannot sell, and the math that doesn't care. She sat there for a long time. Then she stood up, cleaned the kitchen, loaded the 150 sellable cookies in the boxes, drove home. She would sell them Saturday. She would take a loss this week. She would not lose the lesson. That night, she brought the shoebox down from the closet. She sat at the kitchen table and opened the notebook, turned to page 9. She had read this page many times. She knew the measurements, the temperatures, the timing. This time, she read to the very bottom. At the bottom of the page, below the baking instructions, in handwriting, smaller and more cramped than the rest, written in a pencil with a softer lead than the main recipe, squeezed into the margin as if added later and in a hurry. For the church oven, pull back 20 degrees, add 2 minutes, rotate at the halfway point. Bottom rack only. Celestine read the lines twice, 3 times. Ruthie had baked in a church kitchen. She had stood in front of a commercial oven that was not hers, in a kitchen that operated on different rules than her own. And she had figured out what the recipe needed.
She had written it down.
In the margin of the same page Celestine had been reading for months. She had never looked at the margin. She had never needed to, until tonight. She traced the handwriting with her finger. The graphite had faded, but the instruction was still there. She sat at the table for a while. She did not cry. She was not the kind of person who cried at kitchen tables. She was the kind of person who wrote things down. She picked up a pen. Below Ruthie's penciled note, in her own handwriting, she wrote, "Greater Refuge, commercial oven, 330 degrees, 14 minutes, rotate at 7, top and bottom racks staggered, alternating sets, 2 generations." 1 page. The same problem, 40 years apart. Ruthie's pencil above, Sally's pen below. The margin crowded now. She closed the notebook. She put it back in the shoebox. But she did not put the shoebox back on the closet shelf. She put it on the kitchen counter, where she could reach it without climbing. The quiet regular came to the market on a Saturday in late fall. He bought his 2 bags the usual way, cash, nod, and then he did not leave. He stepped to the side, waited until the 2 women in front of Celestine paid and moved on. Then he stepped forward. "My name is Darnell Fontano. I own a restaurant called Fontano's on the main strip downtown. 38 seats, 5 nights a week." Celestine looked at him. He said, "I've been buying your cookies for 11 weeks. I don't make dessert at my restaurant. I buy yours, plate them, bring them out after dinner. My customers keep asking where they come from. Some of them come back specifically because of the cookies. They're the only thing on the dessert menu, and they are the reason certain people return." He paused. He was not comfortable with long speeches. She could see him managing the effort of it. "I need $250 a week, every week. Can you supply that?" She did the math before she answered. She was currently making around $450 for the market. Adding $250 meant $700 per week total. More hours at the church kitchen, more ingredients, more driving. "What price?" she asked. $120 per cookie, half your retail price. I'll pick them up every Wednesday. You don't have to deliver. I'll come to you." She did not react. She calculated. 250 cookies at $120 each, $300 per week. Her cost per cookie was around 31 cents. Profit per cookie at wholesale, 89 cents. At retail, she made $2.19 per cookie. So she made less per unit, but more per week. Guaranteed, with no vendor fee, no 6-hour stand, no weather dependence, no hope required. That was the math of growing. "Starting next Wednesday," she said. He nodded once, took a business card from his shirt pocket and set it on the table. Plain white, restaurant name, phone number. Nothing else. He picked up his 2 bags and left the way he always left. Celestine picked up the card, tucked it into the envelope with the day's money. Not currency. Evidence. Now here's the thing I want you to sit with for a second. Darnell Fontano had been buying her cookies for 11 weeks. 11 weeks of cash. Nod, walk away. And this whole time he was building a case. He was eating her product, watching his customers react, deciding whether this was something he could stake his restaurant's dessert menu on. And when he had enough information, he came back and said what he needed. No drama, no speech, just "here's what I need. Can you do it?" That kind of quiet, steady attention is its own form of respect. And most people would have dismissed him as just a regular customer. She almost did. Pay attention to who keeps showing up. The first year ended in December. Celestine sat at the kitchen table on a Tuesday night with the composition notebook she had kept since the first Saturday at Cedar Mill. Black and white marbled cover. Every sale, every expense, every Saturday total. Every wholesale delivery to Darnell. Every cost of flour and butter and sugar and pecans and parchment and Ziploc bags and labels and vendor fees and kitchen rental. Total revenue for the year, $18,600. She looked at the number for a long time. It was $1,400 below the cottage food ceiling of $20,000. She had watched the number approach that line for 2 months, and she had made a decision, without telling anyone, that she would stop before she crossed it. Not because she wanted to stop, because crossing it meant a different legal category, different requirements she was not yet ready to meet. She had held herself back deliberately. She had turned down 2 orders in November. She told a woman who wanted cookies for a church gala that she could not take the job right now. She had said no to money in order to stay inside a boundary she could manage. $18,600. From a recipe in a notebook with a cloudy plastic cover. From a kitchen where the oven ran 30 degrees hot. From a folding table with a hand-lettered sign and a 7-year-old who drew a picture at the right moment for the right stranger. The small things had changed. She had paid the electric bill on time for 4 months in a row, first time since the layoff. Bria had new shoes for the school year, shoes that fit, shoes that did not have someone else's name written inside in permanent marker. The refrigerator was not empty, not full in the way refrigerators are full in commercials, but stocked. Milk, eggs, lunch meat, grape jelly. The specific dignity of shelves that are not bare. She was still tired. The week her car needed a repair she could not afford. She pulled a wagon 11 blocks in the dark to get to the market. Bria walked beside her, holding a flashlight. The success had not removed the difficulty. It had added purpose to it. The waking at 3:30 was the same. What she was waking for had changed. Odessa came on New Year's Day with a pot of black-eyed peas and rice. Tradition. She sat at the kitchen table, and Celestine told her the number, 18,600. Odessa ate a forkful of peas, thought for a moment. Next year, you have to decide what this is, a side project or a company, because the law is going to make you choose, and the law doesn't wait for you to feel ready. She said it not as advice, as fact, the way she said everything. Celestine chose. Second week of January, same library, same public computer. She typed LLC registration in this state. She read the form, read it again, filled it out. The filing fee was $125. She paid it with the debit card attached to the account she had opened in October with the first $288.60 from the market. The business was named Grandma Ruthie's LLC. The following week, she completed a food handler certification course online. $18, 4 hours. Questions about temperature, danger zones, and cross-contamination and hand-washing technique. She passed on the first attempt. Printed the certificate at the library. She called the State Department of Health, asked about a commercial food license. The woman on the phone walked her through the requirements: certified commercial kitchen facility inspection, liability insurance documentation. Celestine wrote each item on the back of an envelope. The liability insurance was $520 per year. She called 4 companies, chose the lowest quote. She went back to Greater Refuge, asked Pastor Oates for a formal rental agreement. A signed document confirming the kitchen was a certified commercial facility and that she was an authorized user. He wrote it by hand on church letterhead and signed it. She thanked him and put it in a folder she had bought for 79 cents. She submitted the application. 3 weeks later, an envelope arrived from the State Department of Health. She opened it on the front porch, not inside. She did not want to carry the answer into the kitchen if the answer was no. It was not no. A commercial food license, her name, the name of the company she had registered, an official date and seal. Jerome came over that afternoon, saw the document on the table, picked it up and read it. You spent almost $1,000 getting paper. That paper is the line between a woman selling cookies and a business that sells cookies. She looked at him. You see the difference? Jerome put it down. Yeah, he said. All right. She did not frame the license, did not hang it on the wall. She folded it and put it in the drawer beside the stove. Same drawer, same envelope. The drawer still did not close all the way. What was inside it had changed. Vivian Holt did not stop. With the commercial license, Celestine could now sell online and through stores, which removed the restrictions of cottage food law. She set up a Facebook page. Bria, now 9, helped photograph the cookies and draft the first posts. The page had 200 followers in 2 weeks. Orders increased. Revenue in April hit $4,800 in a single month. Celestine stared at that number in the composition book and read it twice, because numbers that large still felt like they belonged to someone else. But the number carried weight on both sides of it. She was baking 600 cookies a week. Church kitchen 3 nights. Up at 3:30 on baking days, 4 on market days. Mixing dough. Portioning dough. Baking. Cooling. Packing. Labeling. Boxing. Loading. Driving. Selling. Restocking. Darnell. Driving home. Bria helped after school. She had learned to seal Ziploc bags with a precision that Celestine suspected had come from Ruthie somehow, through some line that skipped a generation and came out in a 9-year-old who applied labels perfectly straight every time. One evening, while Bria was labeling and Celestine was measuring flour, Bria said without looking up, "Mom, if you made less, would you have to work this much?" Celestine stopped measuring, held the cup of flour over the bowl, did not put it down. The question was a good one. It was, in fact, the question she had been asking herself at 3:30 in the morning and could not answer. She put the cup down. "That's a real question," she said. Bria waited. She was good at waiting. She had learned it young. "I don't have the answer yet," Celestine said. And that was the truth. She did not know whether what she was building was what she wanted to keep building, or whether she was building because stopping felt like going backward. She knew she was tired. She knew the tiredness had a texture now that was different from 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the tiredness was hollow. Now it was full of flour dust and the smell of brown butter and the sound of her daughter counting labels at the kitchen table. Full is still heavy. Full might be heavier. But this was the first thing in her adult life that had her name on it. Not a job title, not a badge, a company name on a license and a label and a sign at a market table. She had built it from $23.80 and a recipe and a kitchen that lied about its own temperature. She was standing exactly in the middle of 2 things, not ready to make it smaller, not certain she could make it bigger. The middle is not where answers live. It is where decisions wait. Vivian Holt escalated. The Facebook page was growing. A local cooking blog had mentioned the cookies. A food writer had tagged the page in a post about hidden gems at Cedar Mill. Holt's home style. Meanwhile, had been at the same sales level for 3 weeks. Vivian reached out to a contact she had at the regional office of Harland Foods, a mid-size grocery chain that was expanding its local makers shelf section. She positioned Holt's Homestyle as the obvious anchor brand for the program. And she noted, in passing, that some vendors at Cedar Mill were operating on recently acquired commercial licenses without established co-packing arrangements, and might not have the production infrastructure to meet volume requirements at scale. She did not name Celestine. She did not need to. This was not personal jealousy dressed as competition. This was a system working the way systems work. The person who is already inside shapes the rules of entry so that the rules favor someone already inside. The standards sound neutral. The standards are not neutral. The standards were written by people who were already in the room. Celestine did not know any of this was happening. The call came on a Thursday at 8:21 in the evening. She was in the church kitchen with both hands in dough for the Saturday batch, phone face up on the counter by the sink. Unknown number, area code from another state. She had been ignoring unknown numbers for weeks. Warranty calls, solar panel offers. She had trained herself to let them go. But something made her pick up. She could not explain it then. She could not explain it now. She wiped her right hand on her apron and answered. A man's voice, professional, measured. He introduced himself as Brian Caldwell, regional buyer for Harland Foods. He was calling about her cookies. Celestine stood in the church kitchen with the phone against her ear and dough going warm on the counter, and she did not move. Brian explained the Harland Foods Local Maker Initiative. Once a year, Harland invited small producers and manufacturers from across the region to present their products directly to buyers. The goal was to find products made locally by independent businesses that offered something the national brands did not. A store manager had purchased a bag of cookies at Cedar Mill Farmers Market. He had eaten one in his car in the parking lot. He had brought the rest to a regional staff meeting. Someone at that meeting had sent a bag to the regional office. Brian had tried one. He listed what she would need to bring retail-ready packaging with proper labeling, a UPC barcode, proof of liability insurance, her commercial food license, documentation of her production facility, and evidence that she could meet volume requirements, which for a regional placement meant approximately 6,000 units per week. She would have 5 weeks. He asked if she had questions. No, she said. He said the details would come to her email. He asked for the address. She gave it. He said he looked forward to meeting her. He said goodbye. She said, "Thank you, I'll be there." She hung up. She set the phone on the counter. She did not move for a long time. She looked down at her hands. Dough in the lines of her palms, flour under 2 fingernails, the evidence of a Thursday night in a church kitchen. Every Thursday night. She sat down on the floor of the church kitchen. The tile was cold through her jeans. She sat on that floor for the second time. The first time she had sat there because she had failed. This time she sat because her legs had made a decision about what they were able to hold. She sat for a while, then she stood up. She finished the batch. The 5 weeks that followed were the most concentrated of her life. Retail-ready packaging, a UPC barcode, a co-packing facility. 3 problems she had not solved yet. She started with packaging. She could not bring Ziploc bags with hand-lettered labels to a buyer presentation. She needed a real package, printed, professional, something that looked like it belonged on a shelf between national brands. She found a freelance designer online, a woman who charged $180 for a packaging design. Celestine emailed her a photograph of Ruthie's recipe page, a photo of the cookies on the wire rack, and the description she wanted on the front. Grandma Ruthie's brown butter pecan cookies from a home kitchen since 1976. The designer sent a proof 4 days later. Clean, warm, the kind of design that suggests quality without announcing it. Celestine approved it. The GS1 barcode registration was $250. She paid it, received a number. That number meant her product existed in the system that retail stores used to track inventory. A barcode was just a number. The number was the difference between something sold at a table and something a scanner could read at a register. The co-packing was hardest. She needed a facility that could produce several thousand cookies per week using her recipe, following food manufacturing standards. She called 3 co-packing operations in the region. The first required a minimum order of 12,000 units to set up. The second wanted a $5,000 setup fee. The third did not call back. Sister Renee found her the 4th. Sister Renee had heard about the Harland call from Pastor Oates, who had heard from Celestine the evening after. She knocked on the kitchen door the next Tuesday at 6:05. She sat down, pulled out a notepad, said, "Tell me what you have. Tell me what you need." They worked through the list together. Renee had run a catering business. She had filed the same paperwork, sourced some of the same suppliers, navigated some of the same obstacles. She had done it 4 years ago, and the obstacles had not changed much. When they got to co-packing, she said, "I know someone, Loretta Sims. She runs a small operation in Millhaven, about 50 minutes from here. 2 production lines, 9 staff. She does local and regional food brands. She's careful. She's not looking for minimum orders in the tens of thousands." She wrote down the number. "Tell her I sent you." Celestine drove to Millhaven with the shoebox on the passenger seat. She sat in the parking lot of the co-packing facility for 12 minutes before going in. The recipe was in that notebook, Ruthie's handwriting. Ruthie's years of listening to butter in a pan on a Saturday night before church. And handing the notebook to a production manager in a building with 2 assembly lines meant someone else's hands would make these cookies from now on. Hands that had not been trained by Ruthie's hands. Hands that had not stood on a step stool at 9 years old and been told to wash twice. She called Odessa from the parking lot. Said, "It feels like I'm handing something away." Odessa was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Ruthie gave you that recipe so it could feed people." She didn't put a number on how many people. She just meant for it to keep going. A pause. You are the number she didn't put on it. Celestine sat in the car for another minute. Then she went inside. She stood beside the production manager and walked through every step, every temperature, every timing. She described the smell of brown butter the way Ruthie had described it to her. She said it goes from butter to hazelnuts in about 1 second. If it smells like burning, you are already past it. The production manager wrote this down. They ran a trial batch. Celestine broke a cookie in half. Outside, firm. Inside, soft. The smell was there. It was not identical to what she made by hand in her own kitchen. It was close enough to carry the name on the bag. She drove 7 hours to the Harland Foods regional office on a Sunday. Bria stayed at Odessa's. The drive was long and flat, and she spent most of it not listening to the radio, running through what she planned to say, and then stopping, because she had already decided what she was going to say. Going over it again would only make her second-guess herself. She checked into the closest affordable hotel she could find, put the box of sample cookies on the desk, the folder of documents beside it, and she sat on the bed and looked at both of them. Retail-ready packaging, UPC barcode, liability insurance certificate, food handler certification, commercial food license, co-packing agreement, production capacity projections she had worked out on the back of a church bulletin and then typed cleanly at the library. Everything Brian Caldwell had asked for. She had everything except certainty that she belonged in the room. She borrowed a blazer from Odessa. It was slightly wide in the shoulders. She did not own a blazer. She had not needed one until now. The building was large. She had known it would be large. But large in a photo is not the same as large when you're standing in front of it, holding a box of cookies with both hands. Hundreds of people in the corridors, other small business owners, other independent producers, all moving with the specific energy of people who had something to prove and a window to prove it in. A man with a case of hot sauce, a woman pulling a rolling cart stacked with handmade soap, everyone brisk, everyone wearing the same careful calm of people who are afraid and are not letting it show. She found the room number she had been given. Small room, table, 2 chairs on one side, one on the other. Brian Caldwell was already seated, younger than his voice had suggested. Notepad, pen, bottle of water. The unhurried posture of a man who had been doing this all day and had several more after her. He said, "Tell me about your product." She did not have slides, no display board, no pitch deck. She had the box, the folder, and the story. She told him about Ruthie, about the kitchen where she learned to bake, about standing on a step stool at 9 years old, washing her hands twice,
learning that brown butter and burning butter are separated by a single second. About the notebook with the cloudy plastic cover that had been in a shoebox for 4 years.
About the morning she opened it because she had $23.80 and a daughter who had asked what they were eating for breakfast. About the Kenmore stove that ran 30 degrees hot. About the first Saturday at Cedar Mill when no one stopped for 2 hours. About the 7-year-old who drew a picture and changed everything. About the church kitchen floor. About Odessa. About finding Ruthie's church oven note in the margin of the same page she had been reading for months. Then she opened the box. This is what $23.80 became. Brian Caldwell took a cookie, bit into it, chewed slowly, set the cookie down, wrote something on his notepad. Then he asked his questions. What was the shelf life of the sealed product? 8 weeks. What was the unit cost at $6,000 per week? 98 cents. What was her suggested retail price? $4.49 for a 6-pack. What was her current production capacity? 6,000 per week through the Millhaven facility. Could reach 15,000 within 45 days. He wrote each answer without expression. He did not nod or smile or give any signal about whether the numbers were right or wrong or anywhere in between. He was doing math. Math does not make faces. When she finished, he looked at his notes. Then he looked up. We'll start with 40 stores in the region. If it hits target in 6 months, we expand to the full network. He said it the way he said everything, evenly, without drama. This was a Tuesday in his professional life, she said. Thank you. She stood, picked up the box, walked out of the room, down the long hallway, past the other vendors still waiting, and out through the building's main entrance. She stood in the parking lot. She took out her phone, called Odessa. Odessa answered on the second ring. She always did. 40 stores, Celestine said. Silence. Not long, just enough. Then Odessa said, Well, get home and start baking. A regional journalist covering independent food businesses wrote a story about the Harland Foods Local Maker Initiative. The piece ran in a regional publication with a circulation of about 40,000. It named Grandma Ruthie's as the first independent producer to be selected. It quoted Brian Caldwell briefly. We were looking for something that had a genuine story behind it. This did. Sandra Price, manager of Cedar Mill Farmers Market, posted the article on the market's Facebook page. Cedar Mill is where Grandma Ruthie's began, she wrote. We are proud to have been part of this story from the beginning. The post was shared 211 times in the first 48 hours. Vivian Holt read the article. She did not call. She did not post anything. She had nothing to say that would not make her situation worse. She had tried to position herself as the obvious choice for a program that had, in the end, chosen someone she had tried to block. The move she thought was protecting her market position had accelerated the very outcome she was trying to prevent. She had doubled down after the first complaint did not work. She had escalated, and each escalation had pushed Celestine further toward the very infrastructure she would have otherwise taken much longer to develop. That is how it goes sometimes. The pressure applied against you teaches you exactly how much you can hold. The Saturday after the article ran, 3 people sought out Celestine at her table. The first was Tanisha Moreau, 38. She sold handmade preserves from a table 2 rows over. She had been at Cedar Mill for 3 years. She introduced herself and said that 6 months ago, Vivian Holt had filed a complaint with Sandra Price, claiming Tanisha's labels were missing required nutritional information. The cottage food law in this state does not require nutritional panels on labels. Sandra had not known this at the time. She had asked Tanisha to pull her products for 1 week, pending clarification. Tanisha had lost $340 in sales that week. She had considered not coming back. She had come back. She wanted Celestine to know the complaint was fabricated, and she wanted it on the record between people at this market, even if nowhere official. She said this plainly, not loudly, the way people speak when they have been sitting on something for months and have decided that sitting on it is no longer doing them any good. The second was Curtis Webb, 55. He sold raw honey and beeswax products from a stand near the entrance. He said that Vivian had approached him 2 years ago about placing his honey under the Holt's Homestyle brand at a price that was below what he could afford to sell it for and still operate. He had declined.
3 weeks later, a complaint was filed with market management suggesting his products had not been properly tested for contamination. The claim was false. The investigation took 3 weeks to resolve and cost him 1 Saturday of lost sales when he was asked to step back pending review. He said this in the tone of a man who is tired of a specific story, but has accepted he will be telling it for a while. The third was Pamela Osei, 29. She had been at the market for 4 months. She made gluten-free baked goods. She said Vivian had approached her in a friendly way during her second week at the market, asked questions about her process, her customers, which products were selling best. Pamela had answered openly because she was new, and Vivian seemed experienced and helpful. 6 weeks after that conversation, Holt's Homestyle introduced a specialty line of baked goods with gluten-free options, packaged in bags that were a similar color to Pamela's, priced 40% lower. Pamela's regulars had messaged her asking why she had lowered her prices. They had confused the two products. When Pamela said this, her voice held steady, but her jaw was tight. It was the tightness of someone who is still deciding whether she is angry or just exhausted. "I just wanted you to know," she said to Celestine. "You weren't the only one." 3 people, 3 different situations, 3 different ways of being diminished. The same source in each case. Celestine did not say much in response to any of them. She listened. She thanked each of them for coming to tell her. She meant it. After Pamela left, she stood behind her table for a moment and looked out at the market. This is what it actually costs to build something real in a space where someone else has decided they own the definition of who belongs here. It does not just cost you. It costs the people standing near you. It costs the community the market was supposed to be. That is the system. That is the thing Vivian represented. Not one woman's bad behavior. A pattern of how power operates when it is afraid of losing ground. She picked up Bria from Odessa's the evening she returned from the presentation. Bria was on the porch drawing. She came down the steps and got in and buckled up and looked at her mother. "Did they want the cookies?" "They're going to put them in 40 stores. Bria's eyes narrowed slightly. The specific expression she made when she was processing a number, head tilted just a little to one side. "That's 40 stores. Is 40 a lot?" "It's more than our baking table." Bria thought about this. Then she nodded. She accepted it the way she accepted most things as a reasonable answer that told her what she needed to know, given everything she already understood. They drove home. At home, Celestine took the shoebox from the kitchen counter. She sat at the table, opened the notebook, turned to the first page. Ruthie's handwriting, in pencil that had faded but not disappeared. "For my granddaughter, so she always has something to start with." Celestine picked up a pen. She sat there for a moment, then, beneath her grandmother's words, in her own handwriting, she wrote 2 words. "For Bria." She closed the notebook, put it back in the shoebox. The shoebox stayed on the counter. 3 generations of hands on the same cover, 2 handwritten lines on the same page. 1 recipe, still going. She opened the drawer beside the stove. The envelope was still there. Thicker now. Not with cash, with the things a real business accumulates receipts. The LLC filing, the food handler certificate, the commercial food license, the liability insurance card, the co-packing agreement, a business card with a restaurant name and a phone number, and 1 article clipping folded into thirds. The drawer still did not close all the way. She did not fix it. She had never fixed it. She was not going to start now. She turned on the Kenmore, set the dial to 350, which meant 380, which she knew and adjusted for without thinking. She took butter from the refrigerator and set it in the saucepan. She browned it the way Ruthie had taught her, pulled it at the right second. The kitchen filled with a smell she had known since she was 9 years old. She made a small batch, 30 cookies, not for the market, not for Darnell, not for Harland Foods, for the kitchen table. 3 months later, Celestine drove to the Harland Foods location on Crestview Boulevard, the first store, first day on shelf. Bria sat in the passenger seat. Odessa had driven herself and was already in the parking lot when they arrived. Odessa, who had not driven farther than the grocery store in 2 years. She had said she was not missing this. She had said it once, no softening, and that was that. They walked in together, past the entrance, past the produce section, past the bread aisle, down the center corridor, turned into the dry goods section, aisle 7, shelf 3 from the top. Between a national brand that Celestine had seen in television commercials her entire life and a store brand generic she had never noticed, a small package, warm design, clean font. Grandma Ruthie's. Below the logo in smaller print. From a home kitchen since 1976. Odessa stood beside her. She looked at the package. She adjusted her glasses. She read the label. She read the line about 1976. She stood there long enough that a man with a shopping cart had to go around her, and she did not move. Then she put her hand on Celestine's arm, briefly. The touch of a woman who has something to say and has decided that a hand says it better than words. Bria reached up and touched the package. "That's our name," she said. "That's your great-grandmother's name." Celestine said. The aisle was quiet for a moment. The fluorescent lights hummed. The refrigerated section at the far end breathed its low, cold breath. A woman somewhere nearby said something to her child about the cereal aisle. Ordinary Saturday afternoon sounds. In the middle of them, on aisle 7, shelf 3, a small package with a recipe inside it that had started in a kitchen, passed through a notebook, through a shoebox, through a drawer that would not close, through a stool and a saucepan and a Saturday morning and a 7-year-old drawing cookies at a folding table. Ruth Elnora Pruitt never stood in a Harland Foods store. She never signed a co-packing agreement or registered a barcode or sat across from a regional buyer in a small room with a bottle of water in 12 minutes to make her case. She never applied for a commercial food license or stayed up until midnight writing labels by hand. She baked cookies in a kitchen not much bigger than a large closet every Saturday before church for 20 years because people came hungry and she knew how to make something that fed them. That was the whole thing. That was the entire business model, if you want to call it that. She's on that shelf now. Not her name in gold letters. Not a statue. Not a plaque. A recipe. A set of instructions she wrote down in pencil in a notebook with a cloudy plastic cover because she believed it was worth keeping. Because she believed the person she was handing it to would know what to do with it when the time came. That is what it means to leave something behind that matters. Not money, not property. A set of instructions, and the belief that someone will be ready for them. Celestine Pruitt did not start with a business plan. She did not start with capital or investors or a mentor in the traditional sense. She started with $23.80, a recipe in a notebook, and a kitchen where the oven added 30 degrees to whatever you asked for, and had been doing so for years. She learned the cottage food law before she learned how to price. She learned to adjust for an honest oven after spending years adjusting for a dishonest one. She learned that the market tells you what it wants if you stop trying to tell it what it should want. She learned that a wholesale account gives you less per cookie and more per week. She learned that the math does not care how many hours you stand on concrete. And she learned that the system that seems to be blocking you
is sometimes the very thing teaching you what you need to survive beyond it. Some businesses start with a plan, capital, projections, a board of directors. Others start at a kitchen table at 4 in the morning with a recipe that someone you loved wrote down because she believed it was worth passing on. Both are real. Both cost something. The difference is only where you begin. If you watch this far, I want to ask you something real. Think about somebody in your life who handed you something. A skill, a recipe, a way of doing things, a habit. Something you have been carrying around so long you forgot where it came from. Have you used it yet? That's the question Ruthie would ask. Not whether you've been careful with it, whether you've used it. Before you go, if you have found value in this story and you want to see more, hit subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me if you had $23.80 and a recipe from someone you loved. Would you start? I want to read every single answer. Disclaimer. Celestine Pruitt, Bria, Grandma Ruth Elnora Pruitt, Darnell Fontano, Odessa Hartwell, Vivian Holt, Sister Renee Oates, Jerome Pruitt, Pastor Calvin Oates, Brian Caldwell, Cedar Mill Farmers Market, Harland Foods, Fontano's Restaurant, and all locations and businesses in this story are entirely fictional. This story was created to illustrate real themes in food entrepreneurship, including cottage food law, commercial food licensing, co-packing, retail pricing strategy, and the human cost of building something from the ground up. The legal and financial information referenced in this video, including cottage food thresholds, licensing requirements, and retail pricing models, varies significantly by state and region. Please consult your local health department, a licensed attorney, or a small business advisor before making legal or financial decisions based on anything presented here. This is a work of fiction with a human perspective behind it. The laws are real. The numbers are illustrative. The people are not.